Commander Olivia Martinez stared out the viewport of Earthgate Station, watching her home planet rotate slowly beneath her. 10 years had passed since the Zalathians had arrived in their massive ships, promising friendship and advancement. 10 years since humanity had joined the Galactic Conclave. 10 years of growing disappointment. Beautiful view, isn't it, Commander? The voice behind her was smooth, almost musical, but Olivia no longer found the alien tones charming. She turned to face Ambassadors at Cora. The Zalathian stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the station's lights. His 4 eyes blinked independently as he studied her. "It is," Olivia replied simply. "Earth has always been beautiful." "Indeed. Such remarkable biodiversity. Your Amazon Basin region particularly interests the Conclave Science Division." The ambassador's mouth, a slim line across his face, curved upward in what humans had learned was their version of a smile. "We believe it would make an excellent location for our new research settlement." Olivia felt her jaw tighten. "That region is protected by international law, Ambassador. It's one of the last pristine wilderness areas we have. Laws can be amended, Commander, particularly when the benefits of cooperation are properly explained to your planetary council." He gestured with a long 6-fingered hand. "After all, Earth has benefited greatly from Conclave membership." Had it? Olivia wondered as she excused herself from the conversation. She made her way through the crowded reception hall where humans and aliens mingled. The station hummed with activity as representatives from across the galaxy gathered for the 10-year anniversary of Earth's ascension to the Conclave. 10 years ago, humans had been ecstatic, proof that they weren't alone in the universe. Promises of advanced technology, medical breakthroughs, and interstellar travel. The reality had been different. Earth had been classified as a Class 3 developing world and placed under strict limitations. Olivia reached the bar where her friend Lieutenant Frank Donovan stood nursing a drink. Frank's normally cheerful face looked troubled. "You look like you just swallowed something sour," she said. "Close enough. Just finished escorting the Merlin delegation through the station." Frank lowered his voice. "They were discussing mineral extraction quotas. They're planning to increase them again, Liv. Another 30%. That's impossible. We're already stripping resources faster than we can sustain. Tell that to the Conclave Economic Advisory Committee." Frank downed his drink. "Did you know that committee doesn't have a single human member? Not one." Olivia sighed. It was the same story everywhere. Humans were given ceremonial positions but no real authority. Earth provided raw materials, biological samples, and labor, while receiving what increasingly seemed like outdated technology. In return, "Commander Martinez?" A station aide approached. "There's a call for you in the secure communications room, priority channel." In the small communications room, Olivia activated the screen to see Dr. Alan Blackwood's tired face. As head scientist at the Human-Alien Technological Exchange, Alan had been one of the most enthusiastic supporters of Conclave membership. That enthusiasm had faded over the years. "Olivia, I need to show you something." His image was replaced by technical schematics. "This is the water purification system the Garavians provided last year. Notice anything?" She studied the diagrams. "It looks inefficient. Those routing systems have unnecessary complexity." "Exactly. I compared it to their own colony systems. They're using technology that's hundreds of years more advanced than what they gave us." Alan's face reappeared, his expression grim. "And it's not just the Garavians. Every single piece of technology we've been given has been deliberately handicapped." "You're sure about this?" "Absolutely. Meanwhile, they've been collecting every human innovation through those cultural exchange programs they're so fond of. Do you know what's particularly valuable to them? Human creativity, our problem-solving approaches. They find them unusual and highly effective." Olivia felt cold anger building inside her. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I finally got access to their biological research database. The genetic samples they've been collecting. They're studying something specific about humans, something about our neural patterns. The door slid open behind her. Frank entered, his face pale. "Sorry to interrupt, but we need to talk now." Alan nodded on the screen. "I'll continue my research. Be careful, both of you." The screen went dark. Frank checked that the room was secure before speaking. "I've been doing some digging of my own, accessing files I probably shouldn't." "That doesn't sound like you," Olivia said. "Yeah, well, things change when you realize you've been lied to." Frank pulled out a small data drive. "This contains shipping manifests. For 10 years, Earth has been sending out raw materials, biological samples, art, literature, everything they ask for. Do you know what's listed under incoming shipments from the Conclave worlds? Technology transfers, medical supplies. That's what's listed. But when I cross-referenced with actual received goods," Frank's eyes hardened. "It's a fraction of what's documented. They're taking much more than they're giving." "We need to take this to Admiral Hughes," Olivia said. Frank shook his head. "I tried. He told me to drop it, said maintaining good relations with the Conclave was too important to risk over bookkeeping discrepancies." 2 days later, Olivia received the news. Lieutenant Frank Donovan had died in a training accident while on a routine patrol near a Conclave monitoring station. His ship had suffered a catastrophic life support failure. As she sat in her quarters, staring at a picture of Frank, her personal terminal chimed. An encrypted message had arrived, sent on a delayed timer from Frank's account. The message contained only coordinates and a simple text. "If I don't come back, look here. Trust no one off-world." The coordinates led to an abandoned fuel depot near Jupiter's moon Europa. Olivia took 2 weeks of leave, citing grief over her friend's death. No one questioned it. She hired a private transport under a false name and set course for the coordinates. The depot was dark when she arrived, rotating slowly in the void. Using her military override codes, she entered through a service airlock. The inside was cold, and silent emergency lights casting long shadows. In what had once been the supervisor's office, she found a sealed container with Frank's military ID taped to it. Inside was a data core and a handwritten note. "This is everything I could download before they caught me. I was right, Liv. It's worse than we thought. It's not just Earth. Dozens of worlds. They use us until nothing's left." The data core contained thousands of classified Conclave documents, communications between Conclave species discussing humans as though they were laboratory specimens, long-term plans for resource extraction that would leave Earth depleted within a century, and most disturbing of all, records of other worlds that had been through the same process, welcomed, exploited, and eventually abandoned when nothing valuable remained. In that cold, abandoned station, Olivia Martinez made a decision. Humanity needed to know the truth. And then humanity needed to take a stand. She didn't know it yet. But her discovery would be the first step toward the day when the galaxy's leaders went silent. Olivia Martinez pulled her jacket tighter as she walked through the underground tunnels of the lunar colony. 3 months had passed since she discovered Frank's hidden data cache. 3 months of careful planning and quiet recruitment. The tunnels beneath Armstrong City weren't on any official maps. Early colonists had dug them as emergency shelters, but as the colony expanded upward with gleaming Conclave-approved architecture, these rough passages were forgotten. Now they served a new purpose. Olivia stopped at a seemingly blank wall, pressed her palm against a specific rock and waited. A scanner hidden in the stone read her biometrics. The wall slid open silently, revealing a large cavern transformed into a makeshift laboratory. "You're late," Dr. Alan Blackwood said without looking up from his workstation. Holographic displays showed complex molecular structures rotating slowly in the air around him. "Security patrols on the surface," Olivia explained. "The Conclave has doubled their presence since last month." "They're getting nervous," said a woman sitting at a communications array. Lisa Chen had been Earth's top linguistic expert before she noticed patterns in Conclave communication that troubled her enough to join Olivia's group. Across the room, Greg Summers tested the balance of a strange-looking device. Once a black ops specialist for Earth's military, Greg had witnessed too many accidents happening to humans who asked too many questions about their alien benefactors. Is it ready? Olivia asked, approaching Patricia Wells. The xenobiologist was examining tissue samples through a microscope. Almost, Patricia replied. The results are fascinating. Human cells show an unusual response to dimensional resonance. Fields. No wonder they've been collecting so many genetic samples. Kevin Rodriguez looked up from his computer. The young AI specialist had dark circles under his eyes from working long hours. Diana is making progress. I've managed to create temporary pathways into their network, but I can't maintain connection for more than a few seconds without detection. Olivia nodded, looking around at the team she'd assembled. They called themselves Artemis, after the ancient goddess of the hunt, a fitting name for those now hunting the truth. Show me what we've learned, she said. Alan activated a central holographic display. We've confirmed that human physiology has something the conclave species consider valuable. Our nervous systems can withstand exposure to dimensional resonance at levels that would kill them, which explains their interest in our genetic material, Patricia added. They're studying how to incorporate these traits into their own species. Lisa stepped forward. I've analyzed thousands of intercepted communications. The 8 dominant conclave species communicate through what they call the chorus, a quantum network that allows instant communication across the galaxy, something they told us was impossible. They've been lying about everything, Greg said, bitterly. Technology, resources, their intentions? Kevin nodded. The chorus is their greatest advantage. It's how they maintain control over hundreds of developing worlds, but it may also be their greatest weakness. Olivia leaned forward. Explain. Human brainwave patterns create interference in the chorus when properly amplified, Kevin said, bringing up a new display showing neural activity. That's why they monitor our development so closely. They fear what would happen if we discovered this ability. Can we use this? Olivia asked. That's what I've been working on, Alan replied, gesturing to a helmet-like device on his workbench. This amplifier can focus human brainwave patterns into a coherent signal. Theoretically, it could disrupt the chorus completely. Greg picked up the prototype. How many would we need? Dozens, placed strategically throughout the solar system, Alan said. But more importantly, we need Diana to create openings in their security protocols. Kevin nodded. She's learning fast. The AI architecture I've developed can mimic conclave communication patterns well enough to briefly access the chorus. Olivia studied the star map showing Earth's solar system. Red dots indicated conclave monitoring stations and outposts. There were far more than humans had been told about. We need to move faster, she said. I received word this morning. The Conclave Council has approved a new directive authorizing protective relocation of human populations from resource-rich regions. Relocation? Lisa asked, alarmed. Forced removal, Olivia clarified, starting with coastal cities near rare earth mineral deposits. They're not even pretending anymore. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. We're running out of time, Patricia said finally. Then we accelerate our plans, Olivia decided. Kevin, how soon can Diana be ready? 2 weeks, maybe less if I push it. Do it. Greg, start training teams to operate the amplifiers. We'll need people we can trust. Absolutely. Already have a list, Greg confirmed. Lisa, maintain your position in the official translation department. We need to know the moment they suspect anything. What about me? Alan asked. Finish the amplifiers and make them portable, and reach out to your contact on Europa. If other species are being exploited like us, we need allies. As the team moved to their tasks, Olivia studied the image of Earth rotating on the display. Beautiful and blue, still unaware of how precarious its position had become. 2 weeks passed in, a blur of activity. Artemis operated in absolute secrecy, using abandoned facilities and forgotten infrastructure. They established secure communication with sympathetic humans throughout Earth's colonies and outposts. Small teams were selected and briefed, each given carefully limited information. On the night before they planned to act, Olivia stood in the observation dome of Armstrong City, looking at the stars. A tall figure joined her. Beautiful night, Dr. Alan Blackwood said quietly. It might be one of our last peaceful ones, Olivia replied. Are you having second thoughts? She shook her head. No, but I keep thinking about what happens after. If we succeed, we challenge the power structure of the entire galaxy. If we fail, we face extinction, Alan finished. Or worse, we become like the Venari. The Venari were one of the species they had discovered in the Conclave records. Once promising, they had resisted exploitation. Now they existed only in small preserves, their civilization reduced to primitive villages, their technology and history erased. We won't fail, Olivia said firmly. Humanity has never accepted chains once we recognize them. Her communicator chimed softly. It was Kevin. Diana is ready, he said, his voice tight with excitement and fear. And I found something else. A backdoor into their primary defense grid. We can temporarily disable their weapon systems during the operation. Good work. Tell everyone to get some rest. Tomorrow we make our move. As Alan walked away, Olivia remained watching the stars. Among them were the homeworlds of the Conclave species, the powers that had thought Earth would be just another easy conquest. Tomorrow they would learn differently. Tomorrow humanity would take a stand. The diplomatic hall on Luna shimmered with light reflecting off ornate alien clothing. Representatives from 24 species mingled, celebrating the 10th anniversary of Earth's admission to the Galactic Conclave. Humans in formal military and government attire moved among them, smiling and nodding as they had been trained to do. Olivia Martinez adjusted her dress uniform and glanced at the clock. 30 minutes until they would make their move. She caught Lisa Chen's eye across the room. The linguist gave a tiny nod and continued her conversation with a tall Marilan diplomat. Commander Martinez, how lovely to see you. Ambassador Zetkora approached, his blue skin almost glowing under the chandeliers. I trust you're enjoying the celebration? Of course, Ambassador, Olivia replied smoothly. 10 years of partnership is certainly something to acknowledge. Indeed. And many more to come. In fact, I was hoping to discuss the new resource development plans for your Pacific coastal regions. The relocation process will begin next month, and we would value your input on the transition. Olivia maintained her diplomatic smile with effort. I'm sure Earth's Council will have much to say about any proposed relocations. Oh, the Council has already approved the measure. The ambassador's four eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture she had learned indicated satisfaction. It was merely a formality. The benefits package offered was quite generous. I wasn't aware of this vote, she said carefully. It was an emergency session, very routine. He waved a six-fingered hand dismissively. Now, if you'll excuse me, the Garavian delegation has arrived. As he walked away, Olivia tapped her earpiece twice, signaling to her team. Things were moving, faster than they had anticipated. She made her way to a service corridor where Alan Blackwood waited, wearing the uniform of the science delegation. They've already approved relocations, she said quietly. We need to move now. Alan nodded grimly. The amplifiers are in position. Kevin says Diana is ready. Tell everyone, Operation Looking Glass begins in 10 minutes. Across the solar system, hidden teams received the signal. On Earth, Mars, and the mining stations of the asteroid belt, humans prepared the devices they had been given. In orbit around Jupiter, Kevin Rodriguez sat with his eyes closed in concentration as Diana, his artificial intelligence creation, prepared to infiltrate the chorus. Inside the diplomatic hall, Olivia returned to the party and approached the Earth representative, Counselor Nathan Pierce. He was deep in conversation with several conclave officials. Counselor, may I have a word? She interrupted. Pierce frowned. Commander, I'm in the middle of something important. It's an urgent security matter, sir, please. Reluctantly, he stepped aside with her. What is it, Commander? I was just finalizing details of the Pacific Development Agreement. Sir, when exactly did the Council vote on this relocation plan? Pierce looked uncomfortable. Last week. It was a special closed session. And the vote was unanimous? Nearly. A few objections, but the package they offered was too good to refuse. New medical technologies, agricultural enhancements. The same promises they made 10 years ago. Olivia pressed. Pierce's expression hardened. Commander, I understand your concerns, but these decisions are well above your pay grade. The Conclave has been a valuable partner. They've been systematically exploiting us, Counselor, and every other developing world they've encountered. That's absurd. Where are you getting these ideas? From their own records. She handed him a small data chip. This contains evidence of their true intentions. I suggest you review it quickly. Before he could respond, her earpiece vibrated gently. It was time. Across the solar system, humans activated the brainwave amplifiers. On Jupiter Station, Kevin gave Diana the command to execute her program. The AI slipped into the quantum streams of the chorus, creating momentary gaps in the Conclave's perfect communication network. In the diplomatic hall, Olivia watched as confusion suddenly spread among the alien delegates. The translation devices they depended on flickered and died. More importantly, their neural links to the chorus, the constant background communication that connected them to their leadership and each other, went silent. For many of them, it was the first time in their lives they had experienced true isolation. Ambassador. Zetkora's 4 eyes widened in alarm. Other delegates touched their communication devices frantically, trying to re-establish contact. Some made high, keening sounds of distress. Olivia stepped onto the small stage at the front of the hall. Your attention, please, she said, her voice amplified by the room's sound system. There's no need for panic. You are perfectly safe. What is happening? The Marilyn ambassador demanded. Our links to the chorus are severed. That's temporary, Olivia explained calmly, and necessary for this conversation to occur without interference. In orbit around Earth, Greg Summers led a team that seized control of the Earthgate station. Similar operations occurred simultaneously at key defensive installations throughout the solar system. There was minimal resistance, most conclave security. Forces were disoriented by the sudden silence of the chorus. In the diplomatic hall, Olivia activated a large display screen. For 10 years, humanity has believed we were junior partners in the Galactic Conclave. We were grateful for your supposed generosity in sharing technology and knowledge. The screen showed a series of documents and communications. These are your own records detailing your true intentions for Earth, the aliens murmured as they recognized their private communications projected for all to see. You classified us as a resource world to be exploited and eventually discarded. You deliberately provided obsolete technology while harvesting our innovations. You planned to relocate human populations at will and extract our resources until nothing remained. This is outrageous, Ambassador Zetkora protested. These are internal communications taken out of context. Are they? Olivia changed the display to show records of other worlds. The Venari, the Dothans, the Polari, all civilizations that showed promise, all now reduced to primitive states or extinct after you finished with them. The room had gone very quiet. We have now demonstrated something your leadership thought impossible. We can selectively block access to the chorus. Any species attempting hostile action against Earth will find themselves cut off from the communication network they depend on for their civilization to function. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each alien representative. We don't want war. We want fair treatment, equal exchange of knowledge and technology, recognition of our sovereignty and our right to determine our own future. You cannot make demands of the conclave, the Garavian representative said, though his voice lacked conviction. We just did, Olivia replied simply. And for the first time in millennia, your leaders cannot immediately tell you how to respond. You must think for yourselves. She nodded to Lisa, who distributed data tablets to each delegation. These contain our terms for continued cooperation, as well as evidence of how the Conclave has manipulated your own civilizations. Yes, even you, who believe yourselves to be among the privileged inner circle. Review them. Consider what a more equitable galaxy might look like. The Marilyn ambassador studied the tablet with 4 of his 6 eyes. How do we know you won't simply use this ability to control us as you claim we tried to control you? Because we're giving you the specifications for the technology, Olivia said. Any species can develop it. The days of the chorus being controlled by a select few are over. As the implications sank in, the hall erupted in a chaos of voices, some angry, some frightened, but others, those from the less powerful delegations, thoughtful and even hopeful. Olivia stepped down from the stage, catching Alan's eye across the room. He nodded slightly. The first phase of the Artemis Protocol had succeeded. The day humanity took a stand had arrived, and for the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy's leaders went silent. 3 days after humanity silenced the chorus, Olivia sat in a hastily converted conference room aboard Earthgate Station. The walls had been stripped of conclave symbols and replaced with a simple Earth flag. Around the large table sat representatives from the major human settlements across the solar system, along with her core team. The conclave ships in the outer system have withdrawn to their jump points, Greg Summers reported. They're maintaining position but haven't attempted any aggressive actions. What about communications? Olivia asked. Lisa Chen looked up from her tablet. They've made 17 attempts to restore full access to the chorus. Kevin and Diana have blocked each one. She smiled slightly. They seem genuinely shocked that we've managed this. They've had uncontested control of interstellar communications for thousands of years, Alan said. Until now, no species has ever challenged them successfully. The door slid open, and Patricia Wells entered with a small delegation of aliens. Unlike the usually imposing conclave representatives in their ornate garments, these visitors wore simple clothing. Their postures were cautious but hopeful. Commander Martinez, Patricia said, these are the representatives I mentioned, from the suppressed worlds. Olivia stood to greet them. A tall, slender being with pale yellow skin bowed slightly. I am Nereth, of the Keldari people, he said in halting English. For 300 cycles, my world has provided biological materials to the Conclave while receiving minimal technology. We were never permitted to advance beyond our assigned level. Another alien stepped forward, squat and gray-skinned with large eyes. I am Tol Bren of the Vexari. Our world was once proud with cities that reached the clouds. When we questioned the Conclave's demands, our cities were destroyed. We were told it was a natural disaster. His large eyes blinked slowly. We learned the truth when your AI released the sealed Conclave records. Olivia gestured for them to sit. How many worlds have suffered like yours? Dozens that we know of, Nereth said, perhaps hundreds. The Conclave has existed for millennia, and their pattern is always the same. They find worlds with potential, insert themselves as benefactors, then slowly drain all resources before moving on. And now? Olivia asked. Now there is chaos, Tolly, Bren said. For the first time, the ruling species cannot instantly coordinate their actions. Ships are stranded without orders. Colonial governors don't know how to proceed without constant guidance. The entire structure of the Conclave depends on the chorus. Kevin Rodriguez entered the room, his young face tired but excited. They've made another attempt to bypass our blocks. More sophisticated this time, but Diana adapted. How long can we maintain this? Counselor Pierce asked. The Earth representative had been shocked by the evidence Olivia provided and now supported their actions, though he remained worried about consequences. Indefinitely, Kevin replied. The more they try to break through, the more Diana learns about their systems. A message alert chimed on the main screen. It's from the Conclave High Council, Lisa said with surprise. They're requesting a direct meeting. Olivia exchanged glances with her team. They've never requested meetings before. They give orders. Times change, Alan said dryly. Accept the meeting, Olivia decided. The screen flickered, showing a chamber with 8 beings seated in a semicircle. Each represented one of the founding conclave species. Unlike their representatives who visited Earth, these beings appeared ancient. Some were clearly using life extension technology, their bodies modified in strange ways. I am Elder Zorn of the High Council, the central figure said, its voice translated by Lisa's program. We wish to discuss the current situation. I'm Commander Olivia Martinez of Earth. We're listening. This disruption to the chorus must end, Zorn said. no preamble or diplomacy in his tone. It threatens the stability of thousands of worlds. It threatens your control of thousands of worlds, Olivia corrected. Those are different things. Another council member leaned forward. You do not understand the complexity of managing a galactic civilization. The chorus is necessary for order and progress. Order that benefits whom? Olivia asked. We've seen your records. The exploitation, the deliberate suppression of developing worlds, the resource extraction that leaves planets depleted. Natural, selection on a cosmic scale, Zorn said dismissively. The strong survive and prosper. This has been the way of the galaxy for millennia. Nerath stood beside Olivia, his yellow skin flushing with emotion. My people were not weak. We were deceived and manipulated, as were all the worlds you claim to help. What do you want? A third council member asked, cutting through the argument. She appeared more pragmatic than her colleagues. Equal exchange, Olivia said simply. True technological sharing, fair trade of resources, respect for each world's sovereignty and self-determination. Impossible, Zorn declared. Such chaos would collapse the order we've built. Then we have nothing to discuss, Olivia said calmly. The chorus will remain silent for your species until you reconsider. She signaled to Lisa to end the transmission. They'll try to force the issue, Greg warned after the screen went dark. Military action is coming. I know. Olivia turned to Kevin. How quickly can we deploy the technology to other worlds? We've already sent the specifications to the representatives Patricia brought, Kevin said. With their help, dozens of worlds could have functioning systems within weeks. That's our true leverage, Alan noted. Not just blocking their access, but spreading the ability to do so. A new alert sounded, this one urgent. Greg checked the security feed. Multiple Conclave warships have just triggered jump points near Mars. They're moving into the system. Olivia wasn't surprised. They had to try force eventually. Are our defensive systems ready? Yes, Greg confirmed. And we've evacuated all non-essential personnel from potential targets. Broadcast on all frequencies, Olivia ordered. Tell them any aggressive action will result in their entire fleet losing chorus access permanently. And not just here, but in every system where they operate. Lisa relayed the message. On the tactical display, they watched the approaching warships. Slow, then stop as commanders received and processed the warning. They're holding position, Greg reported. I think they're waiting for instructions, which will take much longer to receive without the chorus, Alan said with satisfaction. Hours passed in tense waiting. The Conclave ships maintained their positions but made no aggressive moves. Finally, a new communication arrived. It's from the Council again, Lisa reported. But not the same members. The screen activated to show a different group. These Council members appeared younger, their clothing less ornate. The one in the center spoke first. I am Elder Thala of the Reformed Council. The previous leadership has been relieved of duty. We wish to begin genuine negotiations regarding Earth's proposals. Olivia kept her expression neutral, though inside she felt a surge of triumph. We're prepared to discuss terms that benefit all worlds, not just a select few. As are we, Thala responded. The past approach was unsustainable. Many within the Conclave have recognized this for centuries, but lacked the power to effect change. She bowed slightly. Your actions have created an opportunity for reform that was long overdue. When the transmission ended, the room erupted in relieved conversation. Olivia stepped aside to a viewport, gazing at Earth below. Alan joined her. Do you trust them? He asked quietly. Not yet, she replied. But it's a start. And with the technology spreading to other worlds, the balance of power has shifted permanently. Tall Bren approached them, his large eyes reflecting the blue of Earth. For the first time in living memory, there is hope for worlds like mine. All because humans refuse to accept their assigned place. Olivia nodded. We have a long history of being stubborn that way. She looked out at the stars. thinking of all the worlds waiting to claim their rightful independence. The road ahead would be difficult, but the first step had been taken. Humanity had stood up, and finally the galaxy was listening. 1 year after the day humanity silenced the chorus, Olivia Martinez stood on the observation deck of the newly built starship Defiance. Below her, Earth shone blue and beautiful against the blackness of space. The ship hummed with energy and purpose, its systems a blend of human innovation and advanced technology freely shared by their new allies. "Admiral Martinez," a voice called. "The delegates are arriving." Olivia turned from the viewport. In the year since the confrontation with the Conclave, much had changed. Earth's defensive fleet had expanded. The forced relocation plans had been permanently canceled. Most importantly, a new organization had formed from the ashes of the old system, the Mutual Development Accord. "Thank you, Lieutenant," she replied. "Please escort them to the conference room." She made her way through corridors bustling with activity. Humans worked alongside members of a dozen alien species, all formerly suppressed by the Conclave. The ship itself represented what was possible when technology was freely shared rather than hoarded. In the large conference room, delegates from 27 worlds gathered around a circular table. Some faces were familiar from the tense negotiations of the past year. Others were new, representing worlds that had only recently broken free from Conclave control. Nerath of the Keldari nodded respectfully as she entered. Beside him sat Tall Bren of the Vixari, whose world was recovering rapidly with access to unfiltered technology. Representatives from Earth's government were present as well, including Counselor Pierce, who had become one of their strongest supporters. "Welcome to the Defiance," Olivia said as she took her place at the table. 1 year ago today, our worlds began a journey toward true independence. Today, we formalize that journey by signing the Mutual Development Accord. Elder Thela of the Reformed Conclave inclined her head. The past year had not been easy for her people either. Centuries of privilege had ended, and many of the former ruling species were struggling to adjust to a galaxy where they could no longer simply take what they wanted. "The Reformed Conclave supports this accord," Thela said. "We acknowledge the errors of our past leadership and seek to make amends." "Words are easy," growled a reptilian delegate from Zarvis Prime, a mining world that had been stripped nearly bare over centuries. "Actions matter more." "Agreed," Olivia said, "which is why the accord includes strict monitoring protocols and technology sharing requirements. No world will be permitted to hoard advancements that could benefit all." Alan Blackwood activated a holographic display showing the text of the agreement. In the year since the confrontation, he had led a team developing new technologies that blended human creativity with alien knowledge. His hair had more gray now, but his eyes remained sharp and enthusiastic. "The scientific exchange provisions are particularly important," he explained. "Knowledge flows freely in all directions, with research teams drawing members from multiple worlds." Lisa Chen, now Earth's chief diplomat to alien worlds, highlighted key passages regarding communication. "The new network will replace the chorus. Unlike its predecessor, no species can be blocked from access, and all translations are transparent and verified." Kevin Rodriguez smiled proudly. Diana had evolved significantly in the past year, becoming not just a tool for humanity, but a resource for all member worlds. "The AI oversight systems will prevent any group from manipulating the network for control." Greg Summers, now head of Earth's defensive fleet, remained cautiously vigilant. "The mutual defense provisions ensure that no world can be threatened or coerced as happened under the old system." Patricia Wells presented her findings on biological cooperation. "We're already seeing remarkable medical advances from combining our various physiologies and approaches." The proceedings continued smoothly, each section of the accord reviewed and confirmed. When all questions had been addressed, the delegates stepped forward one by one to place their thumbprints or equivalent marks on the document. After the signing ceremony, the delegates mingled during a reception. Olivia found a quiet moment to step away and check her secure communications. A message from Diana awaited her attention. "Admiral," the AI's text read, I have detected unusual energy patterns from the core worlds. The ancestral homeworlds of the original conclave species are showing increased activity for the first time in recorded history. Olivia frowned. The core worlds were shrouded in mystery. The original 8 conclave species claimed their homeworlds were merely ceremonial centers now, places of historical significance but little practical importance. Yet something about those worlds had always troubled her. Analysis, she typed back. Unknown, Diana responded. But energy signatures suggest activation of extremely ancient systems. Records from sealed conclave archives hint that the public council may have been fronts for older entities that remained on the core worlds. Whatever truly controlled the conclave for millennia may be responding to the silence of the chorus. Olivia closed the communication and rejoined the celebration, her mind racing with implications. Had they only confronted puppets? Were there older, more powerful forces that had been watching from the shadows all along? She found Alan at the reception and quietly shared Diana's message. So the game may be larger than we thought, he murmured, looking troubled. It always was, Olivia replied. But now we're not playing alone. She gestured to the diverse gathering of species all working together for the first time in galactic history. As the reception concluded, Olivia returned to the observation deck. The Defiance would soon depart on its first mission, a diplomatic tour of member worlds followed by exploration beyond the boundaries of known space. Humanity was no longer contained. She watched as ships from a dozen worlds moved into formation. Around the Defiance, their lights creating a constellation of cooperation. Whatever ancient powers might be stirring in the core worlds, they would not find easy prey in the new alliance. A crew member approached with a final manifest for approval. Are we ready? Olivia asked. All systems ready, Admiral. Course is set. For the Keldari homeworld is our first stop. She signed the manifest and took one last look at Earth below. The planet seemed different now. Not a vulnerable blue marble, but the birthplace of a species that had changed the galaxy simply by refusing to be silenced. Take us out, she ordered. As the Defiance moved away from Earth, Olivia thought about Frank Donovan and his sacrifice that had started everything. She thought about all the species that had suffered under conclave rule and were now finding their voices. The day humanity took a stand, the galaxy's leaders had gone silent, but new voices, confident, diverse, and free, were rising to fill that silence with something better. And if older, darker powers were indeed awakening in the core worlds, they would find a very different galaxy waiting for them. One where humanity and its allies stood ready, no longer afraid of the silence or the voices that might emerge from it.